So this video is just going to show a little bit about how you can use Data Jedi to replace option sets. The same thing could apply to replacing app text. I'll do other videos about that. But I'm doing this video right now because I'm replacing some option sets, or not really replacing, I'm rather creating option sets to be able to then demonstrate a new element that is added into Data Jedi, which is a breadcrumb element that's meant to improve SEO. So in this example here, I've already set up getting the 50 states of the United States. So I'll just demonstrate here how that is set up, and then I'll go ahead and I'll ask for what is actually on my mind is what I need next, right? So you can just see that whole process. So inside of the API connector in my data structures, I have my USA state list. I've already initialized this. This is the JSON form that I landed on with the assistance of ChatGPT to be able to populate the type of values that I'd want to basically be available to me for the particular use case of this application. And so what I then did is on the data type of user, I have added in state as a field, and the value type is the USA state list. That is the name of this data type, basically, the object. So I have inside of the user that saved because that is information that we want to save, just as we would normally want to save information coming from an option set. So then what I actually did, instead of doing anything with data types to be able to store my objects that are going to be used in the Data Jedi element in order to essentially make use of all of its functionality there. The option set that is going to essentially come down to having been an object, right? It is this type of data coming from here, so that we can then save it into the database and retrieve it later and know what value that is. So it's not just text or anything. So in this, I created an option set. Instead of needing to use data types and having to do a individual data request, right? Like, let's just not waste the 0.15 workload units on that. And so I added a option set called USA State List Hybrid. Because working with the data structuring possibilities that Data Jedi enables you, it's a hybrid approach. It's not a different approach, it's just a hybrid. It makes you be able to do more things. It allows you to be more flexible and open up more possibilities. So with that, I have just one option here. It's called state list. And then I have the attribute called JSON. Now, this is not a huge JSON. This was just 50 states. So do consider what it is you're using this for, right? You're not going to just go throw a JSON file into here of 10,000 items. Like, you will probably end up crashing your editor. And so with this, this is probably okay to do. And then coming into the design, I have a Data Jedi element that is needed to be able to create these objects client side using the option set JSON's attribute, which is just the text, right? And so just as demonstration purposes go, my repeating group is the list of objects coming out of the Data Jedi element value list. And so therefore the text is just saying current sales state value list. It's just like you would be working with any kind of custom data type or with any kind of option set. And so inside of the Data Jedi element, that's all you needed to do there, but you have to set up these areas. I have a button here that's just doing something very simple, which is making changes to the user to be able to show the selected state. And there is a actual custom state called selected state that is of type USA state list, the object. And so inside of here, just very simply conditional showing, current USA state form is breadcrumb select state form, which is demonstrating, okay, that's been what is selected, and this is coming out of the database as the current user state name, which is the object, right? The state is the data field on the user. The object has fields associated with that, and these are those fields. In this particular instance, short form is the abbreviation, and I opted to use that as essentially the ID. So if there was ever a need to be able to try to match what is stored on the user's data type as state, you'll always be able to match it properly against any value from this JSON, which is going to be already in your app, ready to be used with just this simple setup here. And so you can end up having that type of a thing pretty quickly. So here I'm just selecting the different values. I'm not changing the user's information. When I just press save, then you see it's updated, and it's pretty quick. So here, what I need to do next, I need to ask for a list of the 5 biggest cities in each state. So normally what I do is I'll ask it just, give me something, and then I want to see a sample, because what I'm trying to look for is what fields and what type of values are they passing back to me, to know whether or not I want to use them. And the reason for it is that I want to make sure that I'm not getting a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really need and or want, or maybe rather can't really work with. And now, because I had already asked it for these, and I went through the process of being able to explain some of what I'm looking for, just the first one, suggestion, they come out with ID. I don't want ID. It doesn't resonate with me as a value of a state. So I changed that from ID over to being called short form. And that's just because instead of writing abbreviation, I can't spell very well. So I don't want to have to type out abbreviation anytime I'm quick typing in Bubble. So I'd rather just type short form. It's easier. So being able to craft decisions on your own, it's pretty simple to just work with the AI and get what you want. And then once you land on something, then ask it to provide you with the full amount. Now, in terms of landing on something like this, I'm able to just simply copy it and then go and initialize while this is doing its work on the other area, right? So for me, I think that I can work with the values that they gave me very well. Now, here's why. I have what I need. I have short form as CA to match it against basically the ID of the states. Okay, so in that fashion, I already have a related field. I already know what state it will be from. So it's very simple to basically end up creating option sets that are related to other option sets, essentially, just as you would normally. And then here, I can see these values. It is following along with what are best practices in terms of the naming of these values. The reason for ensuring this best practice is SEO and URL and readability, and that's just, bottom line, that's best practice there. So here, what it also did for me is it actually has an array and array. And I'm pretty sure when we go to initialize this in Bubble, I'll actually have 2 different types of objects coming out of this. I think what I'm going to end up having is my object type that is going to be called city, and then it would have top cities. So this, for me, I'm not really sure exactly what's going on with it, so I do need it to be changed in a way. I want it to be just kind of format it a little bit differently so that I know it's going to have values put together in such a way that I'm comfortable with. And when I gave it the ask of like biggest, you know, obviously population size, but I don't need the information, right? I just was wanting just 5 largest just for demonstration. So I'm now just going to ask it to make some slight changes. Again, I very often am trying to make sure that I get an example from it to know that I'm not going to end up with something that is not formatted in a way that I wanted. And so this still is wrong for me. So now that I have it with a format that I want, I can just take this, I'm going to bring it into the Bubble app, go into the plugins, go to the API connector. I'm going to add another call, and I'm going to just call this top 3 cities. And I'll come into the manual enter API response and just go ahead and initialize that. Now here, this is interesting. I haven't explored this, and I'm not going to do that in this video. But I would believe at this point, yes, I will be able to make this connection. But I'll just leave it as text for now. So this is fine. And then I'll come into here, and let's just go ahead and call this one city list. Create it, and let's come back into here and see 14 seconds they did it. I think that's probably done. Whatever, it's fine for this purpose. Alright, let's go ahead and paste that in and save it. Alright, so now we'll come back onto our user and we'll put in their city, and we are, top 3. Okay. I'm going to rename that. I don't like that. I also don't like the fact that Bubble Bug crept in and didn't name it properly, because clearly I have my S. I don't know if this is a bug or if this is something that Bubble does. I don't know, because they've had issues in the past with the way they change S's and plurals. And I've seen this, but in my memory, I can only see it as like it it is when you use S at the end. I don't know. So I'll just manually enter this and save it again. So when we come back into the data, now we can see that city list. It's much better. So we'll come on to the design tab. Let's just take this data Jedi, copy and paste it. Let's go ahead and switch this over to city. I keep wanting to call it state. So bubble bug crept in. They don't update it here. Let's just go ahead and refresh the tab and update it so that we are clearly working on what we are intending to work on, and that the bubble bug doesn't cause some other issue. So this one now should be okay, and we should see it. There we go. And so let's go ahead and just change that over and city list. That's good. And let's just label these clearly, and this one there. Let's grab this, copy and paste it, and we'll just put it over to here. This is going to be our city list, and this is going to be off of data Jedi city. So that's good, and we'll take this. There we go. We've got the name as the same thing, so we should be good to go there. Let's just quickly add in a workflow, and we are going to basically say I want to set the state, and let's see, are they still allowing us from here to create a new state? Yes. All right, so let's go to selected city, and it is from our city list, create, and there we go. Current cells city list, and here we want to just basically show some information. This is going to end up being their current users city, and then here let's see, are we selected? No, we need to change that to city. So let's just do the save to user again and get this one in there at the same time on them. So this is going to be, yeah, we're wanting to take it off the thing there. Okay. Now if we come in and click, all right, so we got our whole list there. Let me just get into here and just demonstrate a little bit further. Let's get all of them, and let's put a text up here that's visible. This is going to be that, and I want the count. By the way, your count will be free. I don't think you're going to have to pay for the count in there. Now, for some reason, that's not showing up here. Why is that not showing up? Am I not formatted properly? Fixed page, huh? Alright, so we got 150. So I got my 3 for every 5. Obviously, that's not looking like it's working there. Let's see. Okay, so I didn't select this. I will now select that and say there. Okay. So I just need to look at why it is my condition is not matching up on that, and that was something why I paused during the thing, because yeah, city short form that's the wrong way of looking at it. Now it is fine. Because the way in which the JSON structure is, we do have the short form coming off of the state, right? But in this, that's not what we want, because I'm obviously not even selecting a city within the same state. But you can match things up like that and be able to say, okay, only show me these that are going to be matching each other, right? So I'll just match them. All right, so pretty quick and simple to be able to create your option sets. They'll still be free of charge for download. They'll still be immediately downloaded. There'll just be a lot of benefits. off of turning them into a little bit more robust objects, but also too, just like ignore it all and just say the time savings, right? But if you want to add into it, imagine now option sets can actually be created by your users. So you can do that too.